Wreckin Cru. There's a couple other, topics I want to touch on as well, but I definitely want to get deeper into world-class Wreckin Cru if we can. Just a few things that we may have touched on in the past, but didn't really get to go too deep into. Now, a couple of these questions we've already talked about, I've already asked you, but let's go back. We're going to take it back to the basics. When did world-class Wreckin Cru form?
We formed, you asked the question, I got to give you a double answer. We formed as a recording group as Wreckin Cru in 1984, okay? But because there was a problem, I just saw this documentary the other day. I was watching this documentary about some old school bands out of Chicago. And there was a house band out of Chicago that was called the Wreckin Cru. I never knew that. And a bunch of white boys and some brothers, and they did a lot of stuff for Motown and Sam and Dave, a lot of other recording artists. And they nicknamed themselves the Wreckin Cru. And I got hit with a lawyer. Hey, man, you can't use Wreckin Cru. You can use something else. So I just changed the spelling on Wreckin and CRU and Cru, added world class, and nobody sent me no more letters. So that was 84, to answer the question. We was world class by 85.
Okay.
We was world class by 85.
Who was the first person that said, yep, I'm down?
What with the group?
Go ahead, we have a little delay. Sorry, folks. Yeah, who was the first person that said, yep, I'm down to join?
Clientele. Clientele was the first one to join. I met Clientele. I was hosting a rapping contest, and Clientele kicked ass in the rapping contest, and I pulled him to the side. Hey, man, I'm trying to make something happen. You might want to check it out. He said, cool. He came back, and we made it happen.
Okay. Were there any members that
Yella came right after that, though. Dre was the last one to join. Huh? Sorry, Dre was the last one to join.
Were there any members that were reluctant to join?
Nah, everybody wanted to be down. I mean, we was already a DJ crew, so it was just like a natural progression that we started doing something, bigger and better. Plus, we was trying to beat Uncle Jam's army, dude. We was trying to stay on their heels, past them, whatever the case may be. They had a pretty big reputation, but we was holding our own, and we wanted to do something different, And Uncle Jam's army never had a group. They made records, but they never became a group. Egypt was always Egyptian lover. Roger did a couple of songs, but there was never a group that recorded that was Uncle Jam's army. There was a bunch of guys in the army. The army was like shit, man. It was like Funkadelic. You don't know who was in the army. As long as Roger was there, you saw Egypt. Everybody else would come and go. But the crew was four of us. Whether we Eve After Dark or World Class Wreckin Cru, it was just us four. But again, we had guys behind us, but when it came to the camera and the stage, it was all just the four of us.
Okay. Now, World Class Wreckin Cru wasn't nothing to be played with on stage. I just watched footage from one of your shows from the Alexandra Hotel back in 1987. And y'all was on some Temptation shit. Everybody was in formation, with the dance moves and the stage presence. What went into your stage show? Tell us about, your rehearsals and things like that.
We would rehearse, man, 6-7 hours a day sometimes, depending on if we had a show or not. We would come in the studio and mess around. Like, say we had a show, the month in advance, we start working on some shit. By the last 2 weeks before the show, and the last week of the show, they was mad at me because I was pushing them. Hey, man, we can't. Nah. Because, again, you got to remember, we're not going up against no nut-grabbing, tennis shoe-wearing jeans. We're going against some real players, man. We're going against Morris Day, Jesse Johnson, Midnight Star, Mary Jane Girls. We the opening act for these folks, and we want to be felt. I never was no chump when it came to that kind of shit. So to be able to walk on stage and make your presence be known was a major accomplishment for me. And like I said, we didn't see rappers for almost a year and a half, 2 years. And even the rappers we saw, like LA Dream Team, they was banging. They wasn't no slouches. That was just the LA Pride thing, man. It was the thing of LA Pride. Everybody was competing for domination.
LA Dream Team, man. Legendary crew. What so you said they were banging as in they were on some gangster shit?
No. They just was banging on stage. You know, they just was hard. They wasn't no chumps.
Gotcha.
I mean,
Gotcha.
in that era, man, we played with groups like the Jets. Remember the Jets? I got a crush on you.
Of course, yep.
Them some Samoan
That's my
kids
shit.
they were some Samoan kids out of Milwaukee.
Carson, right?
Producers. Yeah.
Oh, Milwaukee. No, I'm thinking the boys. I'm tripping.
The boys are from Carson. Okay. Now, here's a problem we had. We was dealing with the Samoans out of Milwaukee and the boys out of Carson. We at some point in time, we all met up on stage. Dude, you had to come with it. Them Samoans wasn't no joke. Them big son of a guns could move. The girls could move. They had girls. They could move. The boys, they was acrobats. You know, them little son of a guns flip all over the stage and do all kind of James Brown stuff. We still doing our shit, and we grown men. So it you know, we had to compete with that. I hated going behind the boys because they were so energetic. You know, these guys are like 10, 12 years old. They just energize the bunnies. Okay. And then we get thrown sometime opening up for Zap. And one day we had to close for Zap. Oh man, how the hell you gonna close for Roger Troutman, dude? I ain't doing that. It was a different era, dude. It was like being a boxer in that same era. You know, you got Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler. Everybody was bad back then. There wasn't no one bad dude back there. Everybody was bad back then. You know, we played with Ready for the World. Tony was just coming out. Hammer was coming out. Dude, you had to be ready. You just couldn't be no punk. You had to be ready, you know? And that was the era in which we came up. That's why we had to look good. We had to be professional on stage. We had jackets off stage. We had our uniforms on stage. And it was just a different era.
Mm. And shout out to the chat, man. They know their history. They said the Jets are from Minneapolis, not Milwaukee. Yes, honest mistake.
Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay, my bad. Started with an M. Shit, I know.
Close enough. About the same amount of letters. I want to talk about this project that we haven't even discussed. We've never discussed this project. It's a lesser-known world-class Wreckin Cru project. And I want to kind of go into a little bit more depth than this. But you guys had a project. I think it was called Phases in Life.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit. That came out, I think, I don't know, going maybe 1990 from what I remember reading.
Yeah.
But I'm going to play a couple songs, and if I have any issues with YouTube, I'll deal with that later. But I'm going to play just a couple clips from some songs. And one song that stood out to me the most was a song called Serial Case. K-I-L-L-E-R-S. We got to be careful what we say on YouTube. There's stupid regulations. But this song, Serial Case, is pretty deep. You guys are getting pretty deep. So I'm going to play this, just a little clip of Lonzo busting on the microphone. World-class Wreckin Cru, Phases in Life, and this is Serial Case.